Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are tuning in from. This is a BS Buddies podcast. I'm your host, Joe. That's your host, Ian. And today, we're going to be making some villains. And on top of that, we're creating backstories for said villains. So on my end, I have pulled up a villain name generator because I don't want to put in the effort to come up with names myself, but I will come up with the effort for a whole backstory on where they come from, why they do, what they do, and Ian will do the same.
Just for everyone's own entertainment and knowledge, while I fix my camera so it doesn't fall down because it's still held up with masking tape. This was an idea born out of pure stupidity of literally just like, what if we made villains? But what if we just gave them like the worst backstory, like terrible reason to be a villain, absolutely unnecessary. And Joe was like, "Well, I'll find a villain name generator." And so here we've got like some names, and we're just gonna come up with like the goofiest, silliest, funniest slash worst villain origin stories that we can think of to go along with some of these names that we have here. How many names do we have? 10? Does this give a list of 10? I imagine. Something like that. I think it's 10.
I don't know how
Little,
many we're gonna do, but we'll do
one of
out a
mine is
handful of
literally
names.
just timber. It's literally just timber.
Oh, I got one that's just one word.
Oh.
I'm excited to come up with a backstory on that one on the fly. But would you like to go first, or do you want me to go first?
If you've got a good one or a good starter, why don't you kick this bad boy off?
Okay. I got so many good names, and I want to do them justice. So, you know what? I think this will probably be the easiest way to segue into this because the first name I got for you is the accidental murderer. Ah,
There's so many possibilities with that one.
yeah.
Oh my god.
So, ah, I mean, for starters, he did not choose the villain life. The villain life chose him.
I'm glad we both were on the same wavelength with that. That's immediately where my mind went to as well.
Yeah, because like he didn't get to choose like what happened. Like he wasn't like I want to say some of these other ones, but I also just like the devilish creature. That one I'm not going to use anyway. Um, he doesn't want
Devilish.
something like that. He never wanted the crime life, but the crime life chose him. And what
He
can
never
happen?
wanted.
I was just
Oh
gonna
my
say
god.
what first time he noticed it. He was 15 in gym class. He was playing badminton, and he went up for a serve, hit the shuttlecock so hard it hit his classmate right between the eyes, David and Goliath style, and he fell. And obviously, it was a freak accident, and he was very shaken up by it. But it didn't stop there. It only grew
God.
worse and
Oh
worse.
god.
When he was just about to graduate high school, he was doing one of his exams, and his pencil lead broke. It shot so hard and so fast, it hit another classmate right in the temple, gone forever.
It looked like that scene from Star Wars when the one lady like runs her ship into the enemies and it just like blew. She went like light speed through the enemy ship and you just see all the debris scattered out in space.
Imagine that with pencil lead, even though it's graphite, but you
Yeah,
know,
and brains. Don't forget the
I
brains.
didn't want to go that graphic, but
Man, but this poor kid, he like 2 people down before he even gets out of high school. That's harsh.
And then it got
That's
just
harsh, man.
worse and worse. He recorded at least one murder per year, starting at age 21. Whether it
Oh,
was walking up the stairs, slipping and shoving an old lady down those steps, or
I thought it was gonna be like one of them where he like sees like an old woman like crossing the street and he like slams on his brakes and he's like almost there, but he just like bumps her knee and her walker just gives out and she falls and like smacks her head on the pavement and it's donezo. Done for. Right then and there, donezo.
now he has to be forever on the run because what else is he going to do? He's trying to get away from people, but the police keep coming after him. They cuff him, and then he somehow, in the struggle, strangles them with the handcuffs,
He
and they're done.
he tried to join like some superhero fighting force or whatever, like, oh, I'm gonna use my power for good, and he like they're like I don't know, some like shitty knockoff of like Marvel characters or something like that, but they all got like Batman's weird code. I don't kill. I only arrest and take in people. Even though they're convicted murderers, I would never harm them.
I
And
put
he
them in
like
a coma, but
and he
that's
like
besides the point.
and he like joins this team completely unknowing that that's their entire code and they're like, "All right, guys, we're going to go down to Mexico. The cartels down there have been trafficking drugs and children and people for decades. They've killed thousands. They're terrible people. We need to go bring them to justice." And this guy in his mind, he's like, yeah, yeah, these are some bad dudes. So like he's going in there just throwing fists left and right, like just punching like straight through their faces. And the rest of them are watching like, whoa, dude, that's a bit much. Like we were thinking maybe like arrest them and leave them to the authorities. He just turns around, his fists are red, and he's like, "How about you mind your own business?" And then that's when he realizes that's when he was destined to be a villain. He's just a villain who takes down other villains. He's really trying to use it for good. He's wanted in several countries for just gruesome crimes that are were
For
not legally
tripping and
allowed.
starting a world war.
That'd be pretty wild. He tripped and started a world war. Oh my
Trip
god.
trips, bumps a desk, and someone signed like a declaration of war, and like just a scribble went through. The declaration started because of that.
He was like he had like a pen in his hand and he was just like, I hate this pen. He like throws it and through like a Rube Goldberg sequence of bouncing off things, it lands through the president's window and just does like a little on like the World War III document, and then that gust of wind blows that document several loops through the air through a fax machine and like prints it out, and the other country looks at it immediately. Didn't even take the time to like read it. They just press the launch everything button. Oh man. My God. Okay, I got some good ones in here. I'm looking through some of these trying to figure out where I want to start. Like some of them are not that great. Like Ruthless Banshee. Eh. I don't know why, but my mind is like defaulting to Babe Ruth on that one, but I'm not quite entirely sure how I can spin Babe Ruth into a
Babe
supervillain.
Banshee.
Yeah. Ancient Barbarian. I'm just thinking of like Arnold as like Conan. You can't understand him. Nobody, he doesn't speak English, so he's just running around wrecking shit because everyone's mad at him. But I think the one I want to go with the most is Lord Goofy Hornet.
He's a
Not
lord.
entirely. He is. He's a lord. He's a lord. We're gonna say that this guy, he's a villain, but he's not like a villain like with power. This guy is behind the movement. You see everyone who's like, I hate bees. I wish they would just disappear from the planet. All of that stems from this guy. We're gonna say that he is behind the movement to get rid of bees on the planet. It's not that he doesn't know about their ecological impact, he just doesn't care. because he was playing outside once as a child and he saw a hornet nest in the tree. And so little Lord Goofy thought it would be a fantastic idea to take some rocks and throw the rocks at the hornet's nest. Lo and behold, what happened? The hornets got angry. He got stung. And then he decided from now on, you know what? I don't even like honey that much. I want all bees on the planet eradicated. And so now he just wears like super stupid costume of like a bee.
And
And he's like,
he works with the wasps,
yeah,
the
he
ones that
works with
actually stung him.
yeah, he works with them now. He's like, you know what? I hate bees because like he went to his mom crying like, and then his mom's just like, "Oh, honey, you got stung by a bee. That's not good." And then, like, as he got older into school, he was like, "Bees, they make honey. They sting people." And like totally disregarded all information about wasps solely because like he didn't connect the two that like a bee is just a generalized term for everything. He's like, honeybees. Those are the ones. He's just like, these hornets kind of look like the honeybees. It must have been the bees. And he's all about taking down the bees now. He's got like a layer that's like a Dr. Doofenshmirtz thing where it just looks like a giant wasp on his island where he runs his evil labs,
Oh, you're
building
out of an
tiny
island. I
out
guess
of an island. Yes.
there's water everywhere. If there's any bees, just go in the water.
I mean, well, he's got to be the lord of something, right? And so his island, he could be the lord of his island. Um, we're just gonna say his name is Goofy. The Lord Goofy. That's why his he's
I
also
was,
very angry at his parents, but that's unrelated for several reasons. But it just happens to get wrapped up in the bee thing, man.
I
It
thought you
just
were gonna
happens to be
thought you were gonna say that his like first and last name is Lord Goofy.
Lord Lord Goofy, and he just tacked Hornet on to the end of it to kind of save face about the whole thing.
They'll
He's in
never
his
know it's me.
lair. He's in his lair. He's making little. He's the reason for those giant Asian hornets that are like the size of your thumb. He's like, everyone must hate bees. What if I make a really big bee? Then nobody will like bees anymore. But then, he sees like the save the bees thing. He just flies into a rage. He does terrible things like he'll go into a grocery store and just like open up containers of honey and throw them everywhere and like, use your precious honey now. He sees the he sees that Honey Nut Cheerio commercial from like years ago with the bee, and he just like puts an axe through his TV every time. It's just like the worst villain. It's just, I hate bees. Why do you hate bees? I got stung when I was young. Why did you get stung? I threw rocks at their nest. You don't see the disconnect here? It's just the worst. The
They're the
worst
ones
reason.
disconnected. I am not disconnected.
Am I so out of touch? No. It is the bees who are wrong. Just totally makes no sense. Anyone who's ever met him is like, yeah, I don't know how he keeps getting out of the straitjacket. We put him in the padded room like 15 times, but somehow he keeps getting out. No, he doesn't actually invent little metallic bees. We just give him tinfoil to mess around with, and he goes hog wild for 16 hours a day. It's pretty impressive to watch, honestly.
That's his ending story.
It's all in his head. He's just like in a room, just like the bees, the bees. He's got
Not the
what's that?
bees.
Yeah, I was gonna say what's that scene with Nick Cage? No, not the bees. Be like, you want to see something really fun? We put a little confetti cannon in there, and every time you shoot it, he freaks out. And it went from really dark to really sad in about 2 strokes. All right, Joe, I'll
Um,
let you do another villain.
I got a name. I'm just trying to come up with a bit of a backstory. Now I'm thinking of a sad backstory. Might need your help
Uh,
on this one, but we're gonna go with the name Pathetic Mage.
Pathetic mage.
Pathetic mage.
Pathetic mage. You don't want to know what the first thing that popped into my head was the second you said that? Another Nick Cage movie. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I think that's what it was called. Do you remember that one?
I've seen like
Um,
one Nick, maybe two Nick Cage movies.
God, what the heck was it? It's one of those, like, I think it's like late 2000s. And it's got, who is the dude? A
Daniel
sorcerer's
Radcliffe.
app. There's apps for being a sorcerer? Whoa. I am color me intrigued, but we'll come back to that another time. Yeah, it's 2010. Came out in 2010. It's got Nick Cage and Jay, I don't know how to say it, Baruchel. Got Alfred Molina, Doc Ock from Spider-Man in it. And basically it was about Nick Cage is like this all-powerful like sorcerer, and he gets his apprentice, which is played by Jay, and Jay just like absolutely sucks. Like he can't even do like the Mickey Mouse mops and brooms cleaning the house type of thing, whatever going on. And so the whole movie's about him learning how to become a sorcerer in a modern day world where nobody believes about it. It's pretty funny.
For me, I could just think of like a kid that just couldn't grow up. So it's like got a big stick with like the geode at the top of it.
He found like a quartz crystal once while he was out like playing in the woods, and then he found like a cool little stick that had like a knot in the top of it that was like perfect fit for the quartz rock. So he just went back to his dad's shed with a hammer and like beat that thing in there with it.
And then how he got his start, he shined it in the light just right and burned a few ants.
And he was
And
like, "Yeah, I have power."
I don't really know how he. I'm trying to figure out how he took off from there.
How he took
Like,
off from burning ants. Arson. He realized he's not actually a mage, but he realized that with a magnifying he realized that with his stick, a quartz rock, a magnifying glass in the sun, he can commit arson.
he puts magnifying glasses on both sides of the crystal. Like that's what it's encased in.
Yeah, and they're like angled just right so that they like focus on like a center point. And he gets his start because he carries his little mage staff everywhere. He takes it like to school, and he obviously gets bullied for it, right? Because here's the weird kid walking around with his weird wiener stick. It's got like two balls at the bottom of the shaft and so forth. So obviously the middle school kids are picking on him. And then one day he's like, all right, there,
Gregory.
math, all right, Gregory, you I thought of FNAF. My mind went to FNAF. Gregory. All right, Gregory. You're gonna make fun of me in school? Well, that's cute. Guess your house is gonna burn down, and then sure enough, Gregory's house burns down. But of course, they never realize that it's arson because, in fact, we'll call him Bartholomew. I feel like Bartholomew is a good fit for
Little Barty.
pathetic little Barty. Little Barty mage literally just sat at the back of Gregory's house for like several hours focusing his magic staff on like the vinyl siding, and it eventually melted through and caught fire, and he's like, well shit, I didn't think that would work. I was just hoping I could like melt the siding on his house or something. Scared the shit out of him, so he like runs away and he burns down Gregory's house for the sake of the being family friendly. We'll say that no one was home or hurt, but burnt down his entire home. Gregory comes back to school, and everyone's like, "Oh, Greg, we're so." Greg's not even actually a bully. He just like made an offhand comment to Barty one day,
Like not even a
and
mean one. Just Barty took it wrong.
yeah, he was just like, "Hey, that's a interesting looking stick you got there, Barty." And he's like, "You stay away from my stick." And just like super defensive of his stick, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, Gregory, I'm so sorry about your house. And then there's Bartholomew in the back of the class. That's what you get, fucker. Just real mad. And everyone's like, dude, what the hell? And that it just started his villain arc. He just discovered the power of arson and down the down the dark path. We should say that like he expanded his powers like
Um,
over the years.
That's
Like
what I've been trying to think of, like how to expand it from there. Like
he,
he has it on a bike. He has it on a bike.
and that's his flying carpet. Like he's just got like a carpet draped over the seat. And he put electrical magic in the staff, and it's just a taser with like a grabby arm that hits the button so he can go taser people with it.
Just hits the electrical wires attached to the house or like the sockets and holds it
Yeah,
in until it sparks.
just like fries the whole circuit. He puts God, he puts like firecrackers on the end of his stick and then focuses his little magnifying glass so they get lit. And then he's like, explosion! And he waves his little staff so it flings the firecrackers at people. And then he's like, I've got exploding magic now. Just totally loony and off his rocker.
I don't know if we want to expand on that anymore, but
I feel like we beat that into the ground pretty well. All
you
right,
got one more?
yeah, I think I got one more. Now this name, I'm gonna change it up a little bit. It's called Macho Slayer, but I'm gonna change it up to Nacho Slayer. This guy hates, and I mean hates, anything and everything to do with chips and nacho cheese. Hates it. You know why? Because he is a chips and salsa enjoyer. Joe, you can't put your head in your hands yet. You haven't even heard me out.
I think I did. Like
Queso,
this is
cheese, nachos, anything of the sort. Despises it. Why? This is the worst one yet. He accidentally burned himself one time. He burned his mouth on some hot queso because he didn't wait for it to cool down before he put the chip in his mouth. And that just said, not even a kid either. He wasn't even like a child and couldn't. He was like in his 20s in a college dorm room, or like with his buddies, and he's like, "Hey, I brought some hot queso, made it fresh," and he was like, "All right, I love it. I want to give it a try." Ah! And he thought it was like a plot by his buddy specifically to burn him. He's like, he knows I love tortilla chips. He knows I love good condiments and dipping sauces with my tortilla chips. How could he do this to me? And just so now he's the nacho slayer. He like goes to like movie theaters and like throws ninja stars or whatever in the nacho cheese dispensers till they break. Then leaves like a suspicious can of oh god, what a chunky salsa, just medium chunky salsa, like just off to the side. There's a little note on the back that says like try the better option, NS, Nacho Slayer.
give me 1 second. We're almost done. And then I'll come up. Yeah, we'll
We're good.
finish this up quick and then I gotta go help her.
All right, all good. Figured I'd finish my little bit first to make it easier to jump cut. But
Yeah.
anyways,
I just imagine like there's like a white wall, like he just exploded like a cheese plant, and just written on a white wall is NS and just salsa.
yeah, just and then people, oh my god, is that blood? No, actually, that's a chunky salsa, medium. Pretty good, honestly. How can you tell? You see the little onions and green peppers in there? Just like he
Is
wears like a yellow bandana to mask his identity. He's got like a little sword. He cuts his initials into the wall like Zorro. Just NS. Not just there.
and is big his big thing. He has a big like hot cauldron of like the spiciest salsa ever, and he's gonna let it like drop it from a building, let it flood the streets.
Yeah, he's saving it. He considers Nacho Libre his greatest enemy.
Uh,
Oh
I don't know if
man.
there's any more you want to expand on that, but
I think we could do this again sometime, just come up with some more names. I had some fun with this, and I feel like there's some more we can definitely get out of this. The Jagged Prankster,
or
the Water Sentinel.
we match these four with superheroes that are just as bad.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe we will
Professor
do that
Copper
next time.
Wonder.
But I I gotta get going. Sorry, I was messing with the camera a little bit. But I gotta get going. Maybe next time we'll do superheroes instead. But thank you guys for BSing with us. Comment down below which one was your favorite. Become a bud today by subscribing. We will see you next time when we do really bad superheroes.
And throw us some of your own suggestions. But in the meantime, just make sure to take her easy now.